Drinking buddies. So a while back, I made a video of the top 6 bourbons that are worth the hunt. And since then, I've had a lot of luck hunting some bourbons. And I thought that I might do a sequel to that video. You guys really seem to like it. And I definitely have 6 more that I can recommend that are worth hunting for. So let's get right to it.
I'm your drinking buddy.
All right, drinking buddies, so let's get right to it. Bottle 1, I'm going to recommend you hunt for 1792, aged 12 years. Why? Well, a 12-year-old bourbon is a pretty hard thing to come by, to be perfectly honest. A lot of bourbons aren't aged that long. And this one is not only aged 12 years, but tastes fantastic. I guess that 1792 used to hold a 8-year age statement right on the bottle, just standard 1792 small batch. But obviously they've changed that over the last few years. Older bourbon's getting hard to come by. There's so much demand. Bourbons are getting younger and younger and younger. And the truth is, bottles that are over 12 years old are probably dinosaurs at this point because of how much demand there is. Or they're just going to continue to cost more. And this is a really inexpensive bottle, around 50 bucks. I highly recommend you look for this one. It's got a really good high rye character. It's got caramel and oak. It's got a bit of a dryness from the age. And it's got a really nice character of honey on the nose. 1792, aged 12 years. Really good bottle. Hunt for it if you can. So while we're on the subject of allocated bourbons, I feel like there's a really obvious example that I didn't talk about in my last video that is becoming one that people are hunting for regularly. It's becoming harder and harder to find, and it's actually another older bourbon that is really nice, and that's going to be your classic Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare is about a $30 bottle, 30 to 35, and it's 10 years old, and it is becoming very difficult to find in a lot of areas. Normally by the time I finish a bottle, I can find another one, but there's no promise of that. It's becoming harder and harder to find. I've even heard talks that they might lower the age statement. And part of its charm is the fact that you're getting a 10-year-old bourbon for such a great price and such a great value. This one's got a lot of vanilla, brown sugar, those classic vanilla characteristics. It's a Buffalo Trace Mash 1, so it shares the same mash bill as Stag Jr. and E.H. Taylor. So it's got some famous bourbons in its same mash bill. It has much less of the dryness from the age that you get from some of the other older bottles on this list, like the 1792 aged 12 years, which I'm not knocking that bottle for the dryness. It's part of its charm. Some people don't like that dryness you get from the age. I find it as a different complexity from the younger bourbons. A lot of the younger bourbons, you get that fresh grain flavor, and then on the older bourbons, you get that dry oak flavor. I like both. So I can enjoy both. Next up, we're going to bring out a barrel strength bourbon to the party. And I haven't opened this one yet. I've had it before, but I haven't opened this particular bottle. And pour a little bit of this because there'll be some live tasting notes on this guy. Really nice bottle, Old Ezra, aged 7 years. This is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, barrel strength. It's sitting at 117 proof. So let's look at the proofs we got so far real quick. 117, 90, and this one is 96.6. Really nice proof for the age, almost 97 proof off of a 12-year bourbon, really nice. This 7-year bourbon is sitting at 117, so right around your rare breed range. Oh yeah, it's got a lot of oak on the nose on this one. Vanilla, rye spice, there's a little cherry. Yeah, a lot of oak. It tastes older than it really is. It's way below its proof. That, for me, smooth. Smooth for me means it's way below its proof. It says it's 117. This tastes like it's about 100, 105 proof. Very light on the proof side considering it's 117. Yeah, just a really quality bourbon that you might have to hunt a little bit for. It's not insanely hard to find, but it is one that is becoming more and more allocated. When I first bought a bottle, I could get it a little bit more readily than you can get it now. But I have passed up on it a couple times since I bought this one because I got it and then I seem to see it everywhere. So it is available. Next up, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the mash bill number 2 that no one talks about, and that is Hancock's President's Reserve Bourbon. I think maybe it's because it doesn't have like the classic design of something like a Blanton's. You know, Blanton's is so recognizable, this bottle, but I like this bottle too. I think it is a nice bottle. Why are some reasons that people don't talk about this? Well, it's the lowest proof of the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 2 single barrels. There's 4 of them. It's Hancock Reserve, Blanton's, Lee, and Rock Hill Farms. And I personally really like this Hancock Reserve. No one talks about it like they do the other ones. And for me, that seems to mean that it can sometimes be easier to find than a Blanton's or an Lee or a Rock Hill Farms. I like it. It's a really solid bottle. Hunt for it. Hancock Reserve. Hancock Presidential Reserve. Next up, we're going to talk about another bottle that is a little bit divisive. I love this bottle. It is Dickel's Bottled and Bond 2007. So this is a 13-year bourbon. It says Tennessee whiskey, but come on, let's be honest here. That just means bourbon. And it's bottled and bond, so aged at 100 proof. We're being aged under government supervision, so there's no trickiness about the, how long it was aged for, which I would trust these other brands as well, but the bottled and bond just brings another level of trust. And this guy, it's just so solid for the price. I can't believe it's as cheap as it is for how old it is and how good it is. Dickel 13-year product is used in a lot of those non-distiller producer bottles that cost over $100. So there are bottles out there that have Jim's small batch whiskey on it and aged 13 years. Here's a bottle for $200, and it's just the Dickel juice poured into another jar. Or maybe they took some of that older Dickel product, blended it with some older MGP product from Indiana, and they're selling it for even more. This is a really good value for the price. We're gonna pour a little bit of this one. It's just too good. This one's got a lot of baking spices on the nose, especially nutmeg. Yeah, very nutmeggy. Oak, maple. There is that mineral quality that people sometimes call Flintstones vitamins. For me, it's just another layer of complexity that is quickly followed by vanilla and slight tobacco flavor, slight. You get that slight tobacco flavor off a lot of the older bourbons. We don't know how old this Maker's Mark Wood Finishing Series FAEO2 is because they don't place that type of information on their label, but we do know that they take their decent Maker's Mark product and they put some charred oak staves into the barrel and let it age for an undisclosed amount of time. This particular bottle is one of my favorite bourbons I've ever tasted. So this Maker's Mark Wood Finishing Series, last year was FAEO1, this year is FAEO2. You see them, you buy them. It's got great higher proof. It's sitting at 109.1. Any Maker's product over 105 proof for me has got a great flavor. I also would say the one exception to that is the Maker's 46, which I also really like for a lower end product, 46% alcohol. So that one comes out at, let's see, what is that? 92 proof. Why was that so hard? But yeah, over 105 proof, Maker's Mark, really solid stuff. They have their standard makers offering, which I think is kind of on the weaker end of bourbons. And then you have their Makers 101, which once again, it's kind of on the weaker end of bourbons. The wheated bourbons have a really heavy grain forward flavor when they're young. And I feel like Makers is probably a very young product. But when you take these extra barrel staves and add them to the barrel and you create something like a Makers 46, you create something like a wood finishing series, you create something like a Maker's Mark Private Selection, another really good bottle. When you make these bottles, you're making an younger product taste older, and you get a lot of complexity going on with these. It's got a lot of cherry on this one. Vanilla, of course, almost all bourbons are going to carry a great vanilla flavor. It's got a wonderful nose. Like almost no ethanol comes off of this thing for me. It's just like, oh, this smells so good. I could just spend the day with my nose in the glass. And it has an amazing mouthfeel. It's so syrupy and sweet, but also got a little bit of that dry oakiness. It's just so complex and wonderful. I think out of everything on this bar, it's my favorite bottle out of all of these. Which it's tough competition. I love this 12-year. I love this Hancock. I love the Old Ezra. You know, Eagle Rare is a classic for a reason, and this Dickel is just a great, older bourbon product. These are 6 bottles that I feel that you should hunt for, and they're worth the hunt. Thank you for watching.